Right. The state school superintendent says Arizona is not ready to reopen classrooms by the 17th, which is the date Governor Ducey set as a goal when he pushed back in-person learning and even called that date ambitious. In just 3 days, the state health department is set to release its guidelines for reopening. Hoffman says while those metrics are not mandated, every school should use them as the foundation of their decision making. And this all comes as the CDC releases new information that kids are actually more likely to catch and spread the virus than first thought. The CDC says not only can kids get the virus, but they can play a vital role in transmitting it as well. A new study by JAMA Pediatrics says kids under 5 are the most likely to spread the virus. They can have between 10 and 100 times the amount of the virus in their noses and throats compared to adults. So Kylie now joins us live with concerns that school nurses have. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Scott. Here in Arizona, school nurses are not mandatory, but one organization really feels that this highlights the important need for school nurses, especially as we talk about bringing kids back to school eventually. So our partners over at Real Simple Parents and Health Magazine, they're helping us and all of you really kind of guide this back to school coverage, talking to some national experts about the important steps that schools and nurses need to take so that kids can be safe in the classroom. And they had a chance to speak to the National Association of School Nurses. And this group really says that COVID has amplified the need for school nurses across the state. We know that every school in the state and every school in the country doesn't have a nurse. In fact, according to the National Association of School Nurses, about 25% of schools in the U.S. don't have a nurse, and about 35% only have a part-time one. The group said if there's no school nurse, then teachers will be tasked with managing kids' health, taking away from important time teaching. This group is also pushing for 10,000 more nurses nationwide and more funding. The president, Lori Combs, says that all school nurses will need, once they go back, infrared thermometers, gloves, and access to N95s, gowns, and face shields. She also says a separate isolation room will be needed for kids who have COVID symptoms, along with someone to staff it while they wait for parents to pick up the kiddos.
Many schools are talking about children eating within the classroom to avoid congregate settings. But what we know can happen there is that children who have food allergies, severe food allergies, could be at greater risk, right? Certainly school nurses will be working with classroom staff. But if there's that emergency, who's going to respond? What if they're out on the playground and there's an injury? So all of those things we normally see aren't going away because COVID's in town.
And the president that you just heard from there says that nurses have that expertise in public health, infection control, and knowledge of health trends, and that's really critical. But the Association of School Nurses also says that they are needed to help kids with stress and anxiety. Much of that is heightened during this unusual time. And one more thing, guys, before we go, they say parents are really key. The partnership is definitely going to be important when we talk about returning to the classroom. And if your child is sick, make sure they stay home. We'll send it back to you.